This is the Prestigious Initiative. Welcome. I'm Chris Bean, and here with me is Chris Kent. Hello, Mr. Kent.
Hello, sir.
Today we have a remarkable guest joining us today who's here to share her journey and insights into leveraging knowledge, creating an impact, and scaling an online business. Her story is one of inspiration and transformation. We're excited to delve into these meaningful topics. Welcome, Jeanne Omlor.
Thank you, the two Chris's. It's a pleasure to be here.
Jeanne, you have a unique journey of leveraging what you know to help others. Let's dive into this concept of using your expertise to make a positive impact on others. Can you tell us a little bit about what brought you to this point?
Sure. Well, now I've been a coach for 12 years. I was a coach offline for 8 years. And of course, I was developing, I was certified as a life coach actually at the beginning, but I started getting clients and immediately was helping them with their businesses, all sorts of businesses, because I just had a natural marketing mind, I guess, even though the word marketing actually made me nauseous when I first became a coach. That is how not coachy and businessy I was, because I was used to being this sort of more a flaky artist. I was an actress for many years and a filmmaker and had been a designer. So it was a new world for me, this world of business. And I thought, well, I just need to learn this because I had to. I had 2 children in New York City and was newly single. And I thought, well, solo. Single is probably not the right word, solo. And I thought, okay, I got to do something. So I figured out I've always been really good at helping people and coaching them in different ways because I used to be, as I said, a filmmaker, but I was also an acting coach. And people have always asked me to coach them on things. I thought, actually, I've helped a lot of people in various things. And I thought, okay. So I got that going. And it was the whole offline hustle, going to networking events, the old way of coaching that I was being taught. And it was a hustle. And after I left New York and we went to Ohio, I thought, this isn't working anymore. So there was another 2 years where I was just sort of taking care of me and my kids. And I thought, this is just really go where you're welcome. I thought, I don't feel like this offline thing is ever going to get me out of being poor. So I woke up one morning, I was in deep debt at this point. And I thought, and I was 54 years old, and I thought, I need to get online and I need to do this soon because, if not now, when? Because then I'll be 55, then I'll be 56, 58, 60, life's short, right? So I thought, if not now, when? So I picked myself up and it wasn't easy because it wasn't like I was already getting clients. It was that chasm you're in when things are really not going well. It's really just your will and your mindset to decide to do something is all you're going with. Now I got to get online and I found a 10K program on purpose because I realized that I had to pay 10K to be with other people that thought as enough of themselves to also invest 10Ks. That's important. And I know that. If you want to be a huge success, you don't go find a cheap thing. You find the best. You find something that's of at least a certain level. And I thought, well, 10K is that level where there's going to be a bunch of other people that care enough about their businesses and invest enough to do that. So I got into this program and ironically, it wasn't great, but there was a community and there was an idea. And I thought they were going to help me run Facebook ads because I was very not sophisticated as far as online business at all and not techie at all. And they said, oh, no, you can't run Facebook ads. You're new online. You got to do something called organic marketing. And I literally said, what, like carrots? Because I didn't know what that was. I had no idea. I'd never heard that term in my life. That is how unsophisticated I was about online marketing a mere 4 years ago. And I thought, okay, I dig it. I'm going to do it. And I just was like, I'm doing it. And so the secret to how this worked is I was just all in. I thought this has to work. I have no other option. I'm not going back to offline. I can't get a job because I have 2 kids driving school and all that stuff. This has to work. So because I had the attitude of this has to work, I figured it out. And I became really good at organic marketing in the space of like 8 weeks. I had 900 conversations with people on Facebook to chat to people to figure out what they wanted. I figured out my niche because I'd done so much research just talking to people. I'd had 18 sales calls and I did not give up. On the 18th, I got that first client and then the rest is history. Then people like, how did you do that? Started helping. So to answer your initial question, now I help people to figure out what they know and how we can create something from what they know to become coaches. You don't have to be certified because a lot of the stuff that my coaching clients are working on, there is no certification for that. You know, certification for divorce coaching. There's no certification for that. They'll probably find one sometime. But it's really about people have knowledge and their lives matter and their experience matters and it's valuable. And what I help to do is package expertise and just experience and know-how to create an offer where they're helping people that really want that help.
And really, it sounds like you're not just helping the one single type person, but and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're helping to create other coaches to go on and do the type of things that you're doing.
Exactly. Now, I do have coaches that are business coaches. And so that's that funny thing of the coach that coaching the coaches, right? There's some of those. However, it's not coaches that are coaching coaches sometimes, because if I'm coaching a life coach to help them get clients, well, they're then just coaching their life coaches. They're not coaching on what I'm coaching on. And if I'm coaching a real estate investment coach to help those people get a real estate portfolio, that is not then coaching on what I'm coaching. They're just using. So sometimes it is like the circular, if I get a business coach, right? But often it's people that are B2C. So life coaching, divorce coaching, relationship coaching, even copywriting coaching, real estate, you name it. I had a crypto coach in there helping people with their crypto. So it's really, what do people really need? Mom coaches. And what are they going to pay for that you know that you're good at because you've been through it? So sometimes it's more the experience of getting through it than going and getting a certification with zero experience because you just, they have a template or blah, blah, blah. To me, if somebody's been through something, that's the person that should be coaching people on their experience. I've done this and I've gotten from A to B or Z. I'm going to show you how I did it. Far more valuable to me than a piece of paper. However, I'm not knocking certification. Some coaches need certification, like executive coaches. You need to be certified because it's hard to get a job doing executive coaching unless you say, yes, I'm certified. And I happen to actually also be certified executive coach, which I don't really use right now.
Now, when you're coaching the coaches, do you do this in like a classroom type setting, or is this on a one-on-one type setting?
Actually, I have a very interesting hybrid because I've realized people need community and they need the group, and they also need to have things to ask questions in front of other people so they learn. Okay. But there's also one-on-one. So I created a hybrid, and that's why we get such great results, because there's everything in there that they need. And part of my promise is, and people can't believe I actually say this, and I do my own sales calls, even though I'm at, several million now. They go, well, what do I get? So you get whatever you need. It's not about, piecemealing out help. It's what do you need to get results, and we're going to give that to you. And they're like, wow, you mean anything? You need more one-on-one? Great. You need great. And I will coach on stuff that's not promised because I just want them. All I care about is helping people to get these results.
And I can imagine, especially if you have a history of coaching one-on-ones, at some point, the one-on-one coaching is you telling this person to do this, let's say, do A, and then you have the next person who has a pretty similar instance, and you tell them to do A, and you tell the next person. If you did that on, in like a classroom type setting, then you're telling everybody to do A all at one time, as opposed to, every phone call is everybody's getting the same similar type information.
Exactly. Now, of course, all of my clients are doing something different, so we do customize, and there is the one-on-one for that. However, you're correct. There's certain things that you're repeating that apply more or less. So, and it's the group learning is very powerful. Also, the energy of a bunch of people, because I do a lot of mindset as well. So definitely there has to be, I have very high-end clients. That's nothing to do with the coaches. I take a few very high-end clients that are like multi-million, CEOs. They are not going to do a group. They need one-on-one for all the various things. However, there's a point where you cannot sustain over a certain number of one-on-ones because you can't scale. Yeah. So eventually most coaches want to get into at least a hybrid. Now there's also pure group, but I don't find pure group coaching works that well because people need a human being. They need to get a hold one-on-one. So that's why the hybrid is amazing.
So many people struggle with profit and impact. How have you managed to create such a successful online business while also making a meaningful difference in people's lives?
Okay, so I actually call myself the online profits coach as well sometimes, because I that's an interesting question. And a lot of people report, oh, I made millions of dollars. But if you really look, when they're running ads, if you really look at all the money, some of those are not making a million. Some of their profits are 10 or 20%. So now, on my first million that I got to in 17 months, my profit was 94%. 3% for the merchant, and then 3% for like Zoom and my VA. I had a part-time VA for 3 hours here and there. That's huge profits. So I literally almost made $1 million. Of course, I have to pay tax on that, but the revenue and the profits were that's unheard of. Okay. But then, of course, I wanted to grow and I needed to get help. And, so the profits are lower now. I have more people working for me. I have more coaches in there. The level of the program has gotten much higher. It's more high touch. I'm spending money on all sorts of marketing and branding and all sorts of stuff, right? So it's still pretty high, though. Still pretty high. Okay. So people usually don't have this issue when they're starting off because they are working alone. But they lose sight when they get larger of those percentages of what I've had coaches that come to me and they're like, oh, I'm making all this money. I'm like, well, how much are you actually making? And one coach, he's like, well, I make 20K a month. I said, okay. And how much of that is ad spend? He goes, 10. I said, well, you're not actually, you're not like making 10, 20K because just the ads and then there's other stuff. No, I'm making 20. I said, no, you're actually not. Because half of that, so already we know it's 50%, and then there's other costs. I said, have you worked that out? No, but I'm making 20K. I said, not really. He ended up coaching with me, and he understood after that when I helped him get some other organic stuff, it offset the loss because he had the loss with that, but then we got him some organic stuff that wasn't 50% going out. So then we brought all together his profits up. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's a consideration. For me, I just went out there, I was on my own, and I didn't overthink things. People overthink way too much, and it's a bad habit. I would say one of the things that people should stop doing to be successful is to stop thinking so much. And I don't mean, that good time where you're setting aside and getting space, where you're actually sort of like taking a minute to plan the next step of your business. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the overthinking that goes on, and all it is wasting time, energy, and creating these synapses in your brain just to go into this rut of a habit of overthinking. I don't do that. I take action. So I was like, this needs to happen. I need a solution. I got to do this. I went out there and I just started selling, getting clients, and I didn't even know I'd gotten to $1 million. I was like, where am I? And I looked, I thought, oh, I hit $1 million a couple months ago. It was kind of funny. I thought, oh, wait a minute. I hit $1 million? That's like a big milestone. And I was pinching myself. I can't believe it. Because, 17 months earlier, I was a broke single mom in deep debt, right? So I had to grow into that. Okay, now I'm making more money. So then it is about strategic hiring, not over hiring all at once. It's who do I need? Who can I train? And it's about leadership. It's about training your team so that they perform well. And not just plugging in or thinking you're going to hook. When people go, yeah, I'm dialing in a team or I'm adding a team. You don't add a team like water, because team members, each one takes energy and coaching and training. So that's another big misnomer. I'm just going to add a team. Really? And when people say that to me, I know they have low sophistication of business. You don't add a team. I'm like, okay, good luck with that. So it's about, you need to invest. Now, I invest heavily, okay, and I have an investment budget. And a high achiever has an investment budget because when you invest, you will then make more. So then you're playing it like, okay, I'm not just thinking about profits now. I'm thinking about investing to grow more now, okay? And that is a success mindset that I will invest because I know, and we all know, to grow, you must invest. It is the law of the universe. You must invest to grow. You must invest time if you want to learn a musical instrument. That's investment. You must invest actual funds and have a fund for that I'm going to invest this much. And, the thing is, when you do that, you always grow because that is the law of quantum physics. So then you get these people that make some money and they just want to hold on to it. That's not a growth mindset either. Well, I made this money and then, I invested enough to hire a coach to then it worked, but now they're stuck again at the next level. So it's about changing that mindset to a growth mindset, not just to do one investment and think that you're done, one and done. Then it's like, now I'm here. Now what do I do to grow more? But I think people go back into this scarcity fear of, well, that worked. Thank goodness that worked. Well, now I'm going to stay here. You can't stay. There's no such thing. It's up or down. If you hit a plateau, you'll plateau for a while, but you're going to go down or up. That's the law of the universe. So when people go, oh, I'm good where I am, I'm like, are you now? But there's inflation and there's that whole energy of nothing stays the same. So you got to choose. Are you going to incrementally go up, or you're going to plateau and then you're going to drop? You will. If you don't do new energy, something will happen. And inflation will make you drop because it'll stay the same. You're going to be earning less. So this whole thing of thinking, stop the world, I want to get off, doesn't work with life.
And with that kind of mindset of always moving, how do you help to find out what the next step is? Like, okay, well, I know that I have to take another step. I'm fearful to take that step, but I know that it has to happen. But I don't know that if I'm taking a step in the right direction or the wrong direction, or even what direction, it is a direction at that point.
Well, you need coaching and mentoring. I have so many coaches that I have people to ask, because then I have my own processes. You got to boil it all down and not just blindly, because, coaches, they you need to customize for yourself. Every time a coach says something to me, I customize it. That's their point of view. Great. I'll follow that. But then I got to customize it. That's the law of coaching. So, of course, then, and I also have colleagues that I say, what do you think of this? So I'm not doing this alone. Obviously, ultimately, the decision is mine. But, sometimes I know the advice I'm getting. I just know it's not the right one. I'm like, yeah, it's not like aligned. I know my brand and I know that's not going to work. Okay. Then sometimes, okay, that will work. So you got to, not just blindly, but when somebody has done something that's exactly what you want to do, follow their advice. If they've done it hundreds of times for a variety of people, follow their advice, customize it. So it really is getting help and not sitting around getting free info on the internet. That won't work. This mentality, I'm just going to piece it together. Why? You don't value your business enough if you're just like wasting time trying to piece stuff together because you want to save money and not have a coach. It won't work that way. Coaches save you time, money, energy, and you don't lose momentum, which can create depression, actually. So there's also the human cost of being stuck. There's no price for that. There's no price that I'm going to pay to be stuck. Because I won't do it. I won't tolerate it. And it's also about learning what you'll tolerate in your life as far as wasting time and energy. Our lives are precious. Why would I waste time when I could pay somebody? Is every single coach that I pay a slam dunk? No, it's not. I've made bad investments and I've made great investments and middle investments. All in all, it worked. I can't sit here and say, gee, I regret hiring. No, all in all, you piece it together and it's scrappy, but eventually you find people and it's like, that's the home run person because you kiss so many frogs, that you finally, and it's process. And it's about having a really good mindset of its process, it's testing, and it's not about being a victim when a test doesn't work. That is business. So what you said was interesting. Stuck, or maybe you're going in the wrong direction. Okay. Well, you're going to go in the wrong direction more if you have no mentors or people to advise you. You're going to go in the wrong direction less if you have mentors and people advising you. Okay. You still might go in the wrong direction. But the chances of success are way higher if that person is a good coach that has done this hundreds of times with other people. Because then it's just a numbers game. Okay, people say to me, how much does this work? I go, it works every single time if you do the work. Literally, every single time if you do the work. That's the caveat. So if I do the work, this will work. Yes, it will work if you do the work. That's a pretty good case study. If I said, well, 50% come in and it just doesn't work what we're teaching, then that's a risk. Still not bad, 50-50, but it's not as high as I'd want, right? I want somebody to say, yeah, works for everybody if you do the work. So when somebody can say that to you truthfully, that's a pretty good investment. Now, if you're talking to a coach and they go, well, I don't really know my numbers, and, about 10% of people are, well, that's not a very good ratio. I wouldn't coach with that person. And I would look for a lot of proof of that, like, I have a page that has hundreds of client testimonials. Nobody can say that we made that up or that it doesn't work. Okay. So it's really about valuing your business and your life and your time and energy. Okay. Now, I was on a podcast the other day and this woman said, she goes, yeah, at the very least, those people could be going out and getting on social media. And I said, that's the problem. That thinking, at least. We should be thinking at most and value ourselves at the highest level, not already putting ourselves behind a psychological 8-ball of, well, here's poor little me, and at least I'm going to get online and cobble around a bit and maybe get a client if I waste my time, life, and energy. So my message to people is really value yourself, your life, your time, and what your potential could be. Start imagining you're that high performer instead of playing around in the sandbox with the kids and not valuing your time. Your value, your life is passing. One precious life that you're never going to get back on this earth. And people are frittering that away like it's nothing. It's a crime. Because I frittered time away in my youth and I regret it. I'm like, wow, I didn't value my time.
And I can imagine, if you can help somebody to find what their values actually are and then align their habits and practices and then goals with what they actually value, that will give them the sort of why behind what they're doing, so that will make it valuable for them, so they can kind of see behind the veil of what they're doing. It's because of this. The why is there, and it aligns with a value that they have that they want for themselves, which then they'll be more apt to go out and do those things.
Right. Now that's two values, actually. I was just thinking, I think in like mathematical boxes sometimes. That's true. The value of the why, that's huge. Why do I want this? Why do I even want to be a coach? Why do I want to be a business person? Why? Now, that has to be big enough to sustain the amount of action and momentum and will and drive and discipline to be successful. Because if that's not at least at a 7, we're in trouble. If we're at a 5, that's neutral. Give it up. I mean that. Not for love, just give it up. If you're at a 5, that's a neutral. That's a neutral. So that's the first thing. Yes, that value. I was talking about self-worth. I was talking, okay, you have that value. You really want to do this. You're driven. Okay, I got to do this. Now, if you're that driven, you obviously have self-worth. But I'm saying a lot of people half-heartedly do things. Half-heartedly. Yeah, I want to be a coach, and sure, I'll get certified. But then they're sort of petering out like, well, you're not going to be successful unless you're all in. You just won't. So this thing of, well, I guess I'd be $1 million coach if that just happened to me. It's not going to happen to you. That is working hard to have a goal. And I didn't like have a goal of being $1 million coach. I had a goal just to build this business, and it happened. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm $1 million coach. Wow. Now I have a bigger goal. Now I want to get to 10 million, and I want to help more people. And I'm creating more things that makes you more creative as well. Because like, well, now I can do this and I can serve more people. And I have a new idea the other day. So the point is, but focus. People need to value themselves more. Self-love. And it's really like telling when you say, well, what do I think of myself? Do I think of myself, how am I acting? Oh, I'm acting, well, I'm just getting on social media. And it's acting like a victim. Like, well, I'm this low quality person that's never going to be a great coach. Think about what's that doing to your mindset? I'm going to put myself in last position. Why? You're going to actually go for last position. Now, I'm talking about this more and more and more starting this week, actually, on podcasts, because I've found my mission now with what I talk about on these podcasts. And that is that. It's not, come and coach with us. It's figure out where you are not valuing yourself. Then that other value of why and what you want to help people with, and the money. Money is good. It's okay to make money. You want to make money in the right way, which is not ripping people off, telling the truth, never lying, and also serving. But money is great. It's freedom, and why shouldn't you have it? If you're helping other people, even better. So we work with visionaries, people that want to help people. That's what I call a visionary. Just want to help people. And you want to make a ton of money. Great. Okay, we love it. But you can't position yourself if it's like, well, I guess I'm going to do this, and I'm already just sort of finding freebies on the internet, and I see this a lot. That has to change, or the people will never have a successful business. It has to be, even if you're broken like I was. I mean, I was not in a great mindset, but I had enough will to say, I will do this. It is not easy in the position I'm in and the mindset I have of kind of being a loser right now, right? I didn't feel great about myself that I have 2 kids and I was losing, and they would find out sometime too, modeling for 2 daughters losing. That's not what I wanted. So it wasn't like I was, yeah, yay, hi. It was like, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to pick myself up and I will make this work. And it wasn't easy. I did a lot of mindset every day just to get me to a point where I could deal with the rejection and the stress and the anxiety of what was going on in those days. Because I'd now paid for another 10K. Okay, so there has to be a self-worth going on that, yes, I can do this and I want to do it and I'm worth it. And what will I do to demonstrate that? I will invest in myself because I'm worth it. Instead of, well, I don't really want to invest in myself. We're spending a lot of money. We're spending money on a lot of other stuff because people do. Okay, they do when you start looking at what they're spending their money on. Fun stuff. Okay, I love it. But shouldn't the money be on investing in growth and what you really want for your life that will pay you a millionfold, like a career that's going to pay you a millionfold? You're helping people, making money and changing lives. That has to be valued higher. That has to be important. And I made that important, that I invest in myself before I invest in anything else. That's the first thing I spend money on.
Well, and it's interesting the mindset shift that you went through, because it seems to be that, and this is a generalization, I understand, but it seems to be that people who lose go on and continue losing, and people more often than not who win go on and continue winning. Seemingly, it has something to do with the mindset, the physicalness even of losing. It puts you in kind of a downward state, and if you win, it puts you in an upward state, and then that just continues on that cycle until you do something about it. And seems like you did something about it in the mindset shift that you went through. Can you speak about, what, how did that go for you? What was that like?
No, that's true what you say. Okay. However, we need to overcome our environment, what you're talking about. So you're losing. Yes, you will lose because of energetics. And also when you're losing, people become more negative and they cluster the negativity together in their mind, and that creates even more of a story. So the first thing is, if you're losing, don't go, oh, I'm losing and I'm sick and my mom's sick and the kids and this and I lost this and I'm a credit card, blah, blah, blah. And my marriage sucks and all of this. And, the debtors and blah, blah, blah. What people do is they cluster the negativity together. Even winners do that. We all do that. We got to stop that. So when you feel you're losing, don't start clustering and piling it on. It's human nature to do that for survival. That's our survival instinct. Fear of rejection of the tribe and actually dying. It's the fear of rejection. Now we're losing. It's rejection. So it's still hardwired after all this time that we might be rejected, thrown out of the tribe, and being eaten by wild animals because we're alone. That's why we get that. So if you're losing, and I was losing, and I had years of negativity, and I just thought, okay, I need to just focus on the mindset. I did morning mindset every morning to get myself to a state of possibility. And throughout the day, I'd go, okay, you got this. It wasn't easy because there was no sign it was going to work for the first 8 weeks. Seems like not a lot, but for me, I only had 10 weeks in that program. I thought, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? So I made it my priority, and I worked day and night. But this must work. So people need to develop a higher resolve and not give up. Not say, well, I'm going to do that, but. Stop talking in buts. Stop talking in maybes and tryings. I'm doing this. Absolutely. 100%. That's how you speak to yourself. That's how I spoke to myself. I'm doing this. This is working. Right now, it's in the middle of working. I will get this. There's all sorts of mind stuff going on to get me over that point where I saw the light and I got that first client and I cried. And me and my daughters were dancing around our apartment crying because they saw me going, just trying to work this out like a mad woman. That was it. It only paid off because I put the reps in and I did not give up. Most people would not have sustained 900 conversations in Facebook Messenger and 18 sales calls. They would have said, oh, this isn't working. Right? Are we agreed?
Yeah.
Didn't do it. They stopped from the gold. I had no choice. Having no choice is often a good thing. Then I had a glimmer. I thought, an evidence. Then that just got me on fire. I thought, this worked once. Go deep. Do the reps. Keep proving the concept. I just needed one little win. And then I grew that. Okay, do I have loses now? Of course, a lot of stuff doesn't work in my business. But now I say, okay, I lost a lot of money on that. Okay, next. Process. Next. All in all, I'm super grateful. I made millions of dollars. Why would I complain? I live in gratitude. I broke my nose 3 weeks ago, bad break, shattered my nose in a bike accident. Got the cast off 2 days ago. I'm just super grateful my nose is not misshapen. I had a concussion. It was terrible. Everybody's like, oh, that's so terrible. I said, I'm living in gratitude. I could have died. Concrete, face hitting concrete. Okay. Had to go get it fixed. My family was, because we're on a family chat, they're like, wow, you've just been so matter of fact the whole time. And I realized then I've developed so much. There was no panic. It's just take care of this icing, ice it, take care of it, get x-rays, blah, 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 get it all taken care of. Never panicked, never cried, even from the pain. So that is how we should live our lives. Emotion wouldn't have changed my nose. It would just made me probably feel worse. And I thought, I got to really not feel worse than I already do. Okay. And I just went through the motion. I said, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to get the best doctor I can, go through the motions. My nose looks pretty good. Almost as it was, a bit swollen, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a pretty good outcome and nobody's going to notice it but me. Okay. Also, I had a problem with my eye that was pressure. So that's how we should operate, is stop the panic, #unpanic, #unanxiety. Okay. And master our emotions. Because when we master our emotions is when we become high performers. Okay, now I work every day on anxiety. That's like my toxin is anxiety. I do all sorts of mindset. And I'm getting really good at this, of identifying where that anxiety comes in and just, I don't do that. Okay, lost a ton of money in crypto a couple months ago. Panic, don't do that. Took a walk. I don't do that. It happened, it's done, no point. There's no point in lamenting loss. Ever, unless it's, you're grieving somebody, that's different, right? So that's where you need to get, is stop the excuses, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Also, complaining is a form of trying to enforce your ego so that people feel sorry for you or you yourself feel sorry for you. So complaining is a big one. If you can cut complaining out altogether. Now, we resist all this, and I resisted this of I'm doing Joe Dispenza's, changing the habit of being yourself, right? And it's hard, because we are so married to our genetic disposition of feeling sorry for ourselves, being the victim, and gossiping and all that bad stuff that human beings do. But if you say, I'm not going to be the average human being, I'm not going to be the ordinary. And I think that's a good question. How can I not be the ordinary person? I'm going to be an extraordinary person. When you put this as a goal, how does an extraordinary person act, behave, think, feel, do, treat other people? That's when you're going to start to really start seeing what potential you have.
Thank you. That was very beneficial. With over 11 years of experience in coaching, you surely have some valuable insights. Can you discuss perhaps what are some best practices for building and running a coaching business?
Well, people complicate that so much, and there's so many ways, but I'll just make it super simple. If you're starting a coaching business, you should not be focusing on that much at all. It's really about getting the clients and helping people. And that's, to me, an aside. Basically, they can pay you by PayPal. You don't want to set everything up and get all your ducks in a row, because that's energy on stuff that really doesn't matter. What matters is actually getting the client. That's what matters. That's the lead. You have the lead indicators and lag indicators. Sure, set up PayPal for now. Then when you're doing that a while, then sure, you can set up Stripe or, merchant. But you don't even need an LLC at the beginning. I didn't even have an LLC the first whole year of my business. My accountant was like, you don't need that right now. He's like, it's fine. Okay. Then he's like, yeah, you should get that now. So people are way, way, way too involved in nitpicking on the little structures because they feel like they're doing something. But actually, that is not your highest impact action. To build a business, what's your highest impact action? Is to get a client and money in the door so you have a business. And the focus should be taken off the website and billing and all blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Get PayPal for now. Get the client. You'll work it out. That's how I was billing it first, because I knew that. I thought sure, PayPal's fine. When you worry too much about the structure of setting the business up, I already know that those people don't have, some setup. But when they're all into that, and I really just got to get my LLC, that takes 5 minutes. I could do that in 5 minutes. Next. So people tend to make a big production out of nothing to fill their time with tasks because they're so afraid of selling. And they just got to go for it. Sell first, then set up PayPal. You'll be good. They'll be able to pay you. Don't worry.
And really, that is kind of their way of putting off doing the hard thing, as opposed to going and do the hard thing, slay the dragon and then reap the reward from having slayed the
Right.
dragon.
Right. Now, the advice I'm going to give, which is best practices for just life and business, is stop going into your fears and making that a story and wasting your freaking time. We all have fear. You've just got to say, I have fear. That's okay. I'm going to take action and drag that fear behind me and just forget about it. Guess what happens? Say you're a plane and you're laden, like the wings are laden with the fears, like the gremlins in that old Twilight Zone. Remember that one where he's on the plane? You're in the runway and you got this plane and your wings are laden with all your fears. Guess what? You're going to take off anyway. You're just going to take off. You're going to take off and you get in the air. Guess what? Once you're flying, those are going to fly off you because you took the action of getting in the air, launching, right? So if we stopped focusing on that part and just did the lead indicators, action to get clients, and forgot all this nonsense, you'll be successful. Fear is not something we should sit around thinking about all day. It just creates, again, a rut in your brain of fear-based intuition. So then you actually think that your fear-based intuition is actually your gut speaking to you. It's not. You created that. When people say just follow your gut, don't do that. Because most people's guts are so far off the radar, they're just going to keep going following that fear-based fear. So when people say to me, oh, well, I'm just going to check in with my intuition, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I just spoke to this person for an hour and they're so fear-laden. They're just going to check in with their fear in this rinse cycle of fear over fear over fear over fear, thinking that that's informing what they should do. So my advice is do the opposite of what you would do. Just do the opposite. You're fearful, do the opposite. See what happens this time. Something new will happen because you've been doing the same fear-based not doing stuff. So do the exact opposite, even if it feels like you shouldn't, and even if it feels distant, like it's, not what you should be doing, you're going to discover something. You discover that actually is your radar because you are so not in touch with your gut, most people, that they've created this new intuition of fear-based. So I don't buy it anymore because I've already had a conversation with certain people. I'm like, that's not going to go well. Well, I talk, it doesn't feel like it's aligned for me. And I'm like, of course it's not. You're aligning with your fears. And coaching with somebody that could actually get you somewhere is scary for people. That they might actually help me be successful when I'm in this familiar zone, not comfort, familiar zone of being stuck that I'm kind of familiar with now. And she's going to get me out of that and actually help me be successful. That's scary for people. So you got to really, again, check in. What do you really want? If you don't really want it, do something else.
And so that whole story reminds me of a quote, which is, courage isn't the lack of fear. Courage is going to do the thing, even though you're scared, even though you're fearful, do it anyways, which is, I read that. I wish I could attribute that to somebody. I can't remember, but I read that. I was like, wow, that is so great, because you think of, courage, be courageous. Okay, well, I'm scared. I can't be courageous. Well, that's just change the definition. It's not about, courageous isn't about doing things and not being fearful. Do it despite the fear. Do it anyways.
Well, it's not courage if you have no fear.
Yes.
It's everyday. It's business as usual, right?
Yes.
So it's sort of like, again, we're packaging things the way to make us feel comfortable. Again, it's the packaging. Stop the packaging and be raw and be real and face the reality of things. And you're right. It's not about being fearless, because we all have fear. It's about managing the fear and being courageous anyway. And I do talk about courage a lot because it is about courage. And you hit the nail on the head. If it weren't hard, then we wouldn't need courage. Therefore, it's not courage. But we're always trying to water down sensations in our lives to make everything palatable so we can have another drink and sit in front of Netflix again and feel good again and have the dope hit us, right?
We talked about mindset a little bit already, but you have developed a concept called beyond mindset. How has your mindset influenced your journey, and what is the beyond mindset? The
beyond mindset is beyond, like, when people go, oh, I'm a mindset coach and I do mindset. It's like the same garden variety, affirmations, and they're great. Beyond mindset is what I was just talking about. It is ruthless looking at the reality of your life, ruthless in a good way. So it's not letting yourself off the hook. It's like, you know what? I am having these thoughts, and I'm going to dig deeper, and I'm going to, meditate on that. And I'm going to envision, I do a lot of creative visualization, envision the life I really want. Now, some people do that. They don't do it all the time. They're doing it properly, right? So it's really about being very real and not going, oh yeah, I do mindset. I did my mindset. Wait a minute. Is your mindset working? No? Well, then maybe you're not doing a proper mindset. It's also about valuing your mind like it is a beautiful garden, and you're in there landscaping. You're going to pull the weeds out, grow posies or roses, whatever you wish, water, and tend to your mind like it is the valuable thing that it is, because your mind controls your body. You guys are martial artists. You know that. And I'm sure you do a lot of powerful mindset for the martial arts, because I know that's a part of it, right? So the beyond mindset is changing your brain. I'm going for this. I'm not just going to do a Band-Aid. I'm going to change how I act, believe, feel, receive, give, everything. When you're on that mission, you start to uncover the real you that you were born with, actually, before all this stuff happened, right? That they found out that most children show signs of genius till they're 5. Then they start going to kindergarten and all that, you know what I mean? Then they start getting socialized. We're socializing the genius out of our children by everything, okay? So it's about uncovering all the rubbish that we've piled on with experiences and fears and bad experiences and life and, all of that, right? And saying, look, who am I? Who am I really? Who am I? Who we are? When you look in the mirror, if you change your name, or if I broke my nose and it looked really different, right? Or I get way older, I'm the same person I was when I was a baby discovering a mirror for the first time, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Some have a different name because women get married. Some people change their names. Some people change a lot about themselves, even gender, right? Guess what? We're still that person. So who are we really? The essence of who we are is actually pure love. We're just pure love and spirit. That's who we were born with. We can get back to that. Then we have a clean slate to actually figure out our full potential. Then that's beyond mindset. It's not Band-Aid mindset. It's like, who am I? Who we really are. When you think about that, it's powerful. That the same person looking in the mirror now is the same one than when you were a baby. You look completely different, right? Completely different. You have different thoughts. You've done different things. Same person. Who's the essence of who you are? If we can get back to that, we can unload a lot of the rubbish, just going through life with disappointment makes us a certain way. It makes us angry or disappointed or depressed or whatever. Unleash all that. Just unlayer all that. Get to who we are. You start to really be a high performer. I'm getting now to a point where I don't accept certain ways of being. I won't accept anxiety anymore. If it starts to happen, I'm like, no, I'll master that emotion. And the more you do it, it becomes a habit. And the more you create habits out of watching how you think, feel, talk, act, everything, that makes you a high performer. That makes you act, think, feel, be in the top 0.01% of people in the whole world. Makes you also be able to handle stuff that happens in your life. My accident, I handled it way different than I would have handled that years ago. It was a completely different way of handling it.
And I was reading over the weekend that a lot of who we are is based on our actual mind, but the underlying mind, what's the word?
Subconscious.
The subconscious. Yes. Thank you. The subconscious. And a lot of that is we do things and then something happens, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and we react to it or we respond to it in a certain way. We have a habit that we do. But if you can take a second and pause and stop that habit from happening and think about, be in the moment of why you want to do X or Y, that can greatly differ who you are and give you an insight to why you're doing those things, just because it gives you that opportunity to think and be in the moment of why, X happened and now I want to do this. Okay, well, hold on. Before I do that, let's think, what's happening? Why did I want to do that? That's not a good thing. But every time this happens, that happens. But I want to stop that from happening. But if you can control it enough that you can pause and think about it, then that can greatly give you a look into the subconscious mind and give you an opportunity to change and critique how you go about creating the person who you want to be.
Actually, there's an easier way, and Joe Dispenza teaches it. You don't even go there. You just say change. I'd figured out these keywords. You see, there's a lot of things people do they don't need to do to get the same results. Like they figured out that like monks that meditate, they figured out quicker ways to get in that state now that don't take hours. Like there's ways to, so the key for me when I understood, I thought, wait, I'm anxious. Wait a minute. I actually have a thing that anxiety, and I realized other people didn't live that way. I didn't know that. I thought everybody had anxiety all day long. And one day, a couple of years ago or so, I thought, wait a minute. Oh, not everybody lives like this. And it was actually a revelation. I thought human beings were all in a state of anxiety like I was almost every single day. And I thought, wait, you mean that oh. So then I knew I could change it. So to me, it wasn't analyzing it. I don't want to analyze anymore. Again, rethinking. Think. Think's not going to help it. It's not going to help it. What changes it is a new thought. So I would say, I don't do anxiety. I just don't do it. Boom, done. Don't do it. Guess what? I stopped doing it every now and then. But now I'm doing Joe Dispenza's, which is just the word change. When you start feeling a certain emotion that you want to change, a way of being, mine was anxiety, other people's fear or whatever, blah, blah, blah. My keyword is like anxiety. Every time I start to see the scenario of a thought, a sub-thought that's going to create that, you start to notice the very first thought, the impulse. Nip that in the bud, change. And the more you do it, I haven't done it long enough, it creates a new habit, a new neural pathway, where you're not even going down that pathway. You're creating a new one. So now, when Jeanne has an inkling or something that she knows is going to go to that, and then anxiety, change. So it's sort of similar to my I don't do anxiety. Similar thing. It's just it's just like, same thing. Could be I don't do anxiety. Could be change. It would work the same, actually.
I see.
Yeah.
Your journey and achievements can inspire and motivate others to pursue their dreams, regardless of where they start. How do you think people can try to attach onto that and maybe like on your coattails and do the same type of things that you're doing, maybe in a different realm, a different area
Right.
of expertise?
So not as a coach, you mean, not
Sure.
somebody that wants to be a coach. Well, a lot of what I said today applies to everybody, whether you're even a business person or just a person. I mean, just a person. I mean, a business person or a person in a job or career. Okay. So, again, I don't mean just, I mean, whatever you're doing, because that will help your relationships, will help everything. So I would say, in whatever niche you're in, get a coach. Get a coach. Because why would you not invest in yourself to shortcut, get the way, be successful, instead of being cheap with yourself and trying to cobble things together? That's already not a good mindset. That is not investing in oneself, in one's business, in one's future. It's not. That's fear-based. No, I don't want to spend the money. That's already broken. So go get help, no matter what niche you're in. It won't be me all the time because you might not be a coach. I'm just saying across the board, get a coach, a good coach. Not a cheap coach. Don't shop around for the cheapest, because if you shop around for the cheapest coach, that's not going to be the most successful coach. So therefore, you found a cheap coach that's going to coach you to be just as successful as they are. So look at the level of success you want and pick a coach that you can model.
Very good. And I guess, as if somebody wanted to be a coach and they're just starting out with that kind of in mind, do they set their price higher than they think they should to overvalue what they are offering, but also to be within the realm that everybody else is in?
I mean, that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I just know stuff, and I know energetically. If I go to a cheap program, there's going to be people that don't value themselves. The feedback's not going to be as good. It's not the high level of people that are taking their businesses at least seriously enough to spend $10,000. And if you're, I help people do high ticket. So the ROI is definitely there. So when you're talking to somebody, whatever niche you're in, and somebody can prove to you or demonstrate that the ROI is there, then it's a slam dunk. That like working with us, we are helping people with high ticket. And we guarantee they're going to get at least one client. So we're going to guarantee a fishing rod, proof of concept system. Those people already know that it's going to work, because it has to work, because we're promising that, or we need to coach for free. So when somebody's also giving you such a good offer that there's no room for even having to be fearful, and you're still not doing it, you really need to investigate why. Then you're asking, why do I have this? Then you ask, what's going on here? That's not a stop having this. It's like, why? What do I want? I want to let's see. Sometimes people want illogical things, like they want a great coach, but they don't want to pay for it. People have said that to me. I really want to hire you, but I wish I could have you. Well, then that's not reality, because if I weren't charging this much, I wouldn't be as successful as I was, and I wouldn't be getting the results. So that's not going to work. That's la la land. So stop the wishful thinking in life. Wishful thinking has to be thrown out the window. People do that all the time. Stop the wishful thinking. Yes, dream. Yes, have great goals. Yes, you have huge, audacious goals. But then you have to take action to go towards those, or it's just words. Words, words, words. In the words of Hamlet, words, words, words. Okay? I love that. That part of Hamlet, words, words, words. It says so much. People talk so much. Figure out what you want and be serious about it. And, if you're like, okay, I don't want to pay an expensive coach, or, that's going to get results, but I'm going to pay this cheaper one, then you're going to have to say, and I'm going to get fewer results, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to position myself getting fewer results. But then to hope that somebody that's not been successful and is not charging a lot is going to get you amazing results, again, is not reasonable. Because if they were, they would be charging more.
Right.
Because they would have more to offer and the value is higher. So it's not about, there's two types of people in life that are business people, okay? And also in life, people who see pricing and people who see value. I see value. If something is a certain price, I don't care if the value is there. I couldn't care less. If it's 20K and they're going to get me value, sure. 30K, sure. 50K, sure. If it's 5K and I'm not going to get value, I'm not going to invest in that.
Right. And of course, the value is the benefit that those people get, and more often than not, the price and the value coincide together.
Exactly. So I'm not saying throw your money around. I'm saying if somebody can demonstrate they're getting amazing results, and it's a price, oh, that's so expensive. Well, hang on. What about the value you're going to get? You're going to get positioned, high ticket, save a million years, high mindset, confident, have a coaching business, maybe quit your job. That's the value. So the price really doesn't matter. You could have paid me 100K, you'd still be in top. That's what I actually feel.
Sure.
Of course, I'm not going to charge you 100K, but if I can demonstrate I can get that value, then it's still worth it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So, we all face obstacles and setbacks in our path to growth. Could you share a story of a client who you've worked with who has faced a significant challenge, but has managed to overcome that challenge through your coaching?
Absolutely. Well, this is more than one client, but often clients are very, very, very scared of selling. They feel like if they're selling something, they're a bad person, and why should somebody pay me? So I have to get them really clear on the value. The value again. Well, are you helping? Yeah. Are you good? Yeah. Well, is it worth it? Yeah. Well, there you have it. That person needs this solution. It's going to change their life. And you're worried about 3 or 5K? Don't you think it's worth 3 or 5K to change their life? Well, yeah. Well, there you have it. It's not selling. It's an offer that you're highlighting that they've decided they need because the value is high enough. Now, when you don't have a good offer and you have to try to wrangle money out of people, then you don't have a good offer. Then that's not good. You got to get a better offer. You got to get an offer that's not a wishy-washy offer that you like. It's got to be an offer that there is a market that they really need it and see the value and need the value. Okay. So for instance, I'll use like a relationship coach. Now I have a client who's a relationship coach. She's very good at what she does. She changes lives, saves marriages. She had a relationship coach that saved her relationship. She goes, oh, I would have paid 20K for that. I said, there you have it. She goes, oh, I get it. I said, see you. She goes, oh yeah. I mean, it was amazing. And she inspired me to do what I do. So don't you think, what's the price for somebody saving your marriage? First of all, it's priceless, right?
Yeah, right.
First of all, how much does the divorce cost?
A substantial amount.
Just on a monetary value. I'm just talking about monetary to begin with. Just on a sheer monetary value, it's going to be way more just cost-wise to get a divorce, okay? If you're into money, right? Now let's talk about the emotional. Well, if you have children, well, the children are then a broken family, like back and forth. That's traumatic. Now, you're alone, your wife's alone, dissension, blah, 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 money on alimony if somebody's paying alimony and child support and all of that. If there were a very talented, relationship coach who could have fixed this, wouldn't it be better paying her 10K?
Yes.
There you have it. That's what I'm talking about, value. In that case, you should not blink at the 10K. You should be like, well, she's had demonstrated same exact, I mean, certain marriages cannot be saved. We all know that, right? But a lot can. And it's because they have not gotten help. They've not gone to get actual help that works. And sometimes the psychotherapist is not the one that's going to help. It's more of a coach, because they can tell you to do stuff that the therapist cannot tell you to do, coach you. So in that case, would you blink? No, you'd be like, okay, well, wasn't going to be in my budget, but this is a priority for me to save my marriage, because I love my wife and I want to stay with her. And there's things that we are missing here. And this coach is going to help us get us all back on track and have a happy family, keep the family together and avoid that. Yeah, I'm gonna pretty much use that 10K instead of buying a new car, right?
Yeah.
Any normal person that values their marriage would do that. That values the marriage. They don't value the marriage, they will not pay for that coach, because they just don't care. It's okay, we'll get a divorce. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And I would imagine as you're going through and selling the client on this, there's a certain sort of bringing to the surface those kind of values to help them to realize that they value their marriage more than perhaps than they did when they walked in to see you. And maybe just by taking that step, by walking in to see a relationship coach, they value their relationship more, than they thought they did, because they made that step to walk in to talk to somebody.
Right. Or even if they're talking to, then that means they're already open to it. But then, and I don't even think she charges 10K, by the way. She charges like 3K. I'm like, it's a no-brainer. And somebody said, oh, that's so expensive. I said, that person is not serious about saving her marriage. What's 3K? She goes, you're right. I said, that's not a client for you. She thinks that's a lot to save a marriage. I don't know what to say. I don't. Like, that should be a priority. I use that because to me, that should be a priority from somebody who is divorced, by the way. Okay. I still believe that should be a priority to fix a marriage if it can be fixed.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I guess while we're on the topic of priorities, for our listeners who might be struggling to prioritize their well-being, what advice would you offer to help them to take positive steps towards a change for them?
Well, I mean, we all know that exercise, and you guys know, exercise is so just vital to well-being, movement, any kind of movement. So we all know also from studies that even 15 minutes of movement can keep you from better than an antidepressant. 15 minutes is often more effective than an antidepressant. So I would say not take the lazy way out of taking a pill to not be depressed. Just walk for 15 minutes, walk the dog. Get on 15 minutes, folks. Now, I have periods because I broke the nose, I wasn't really exercising that much. And I could see that so I started last week getting into light, because I don't want to jog it too much. So light walking, and I'm already, okay, now I'm back where I was. So move. Doesn't have to be anything specific. Go take a walk. Rebound. Do something. Move. So we want 15 minutes of movement. I'm not a health coach, but I do know this. So that's already helping. That's helping everything. Do your mindset. And value yourself. So eat well, don't drink a lot. Obviously, I hardly drink alcohol, but every now and then. And cut down on the meat, because people eat way too much meat. We don't need that much meat. I thought a lot about this. Americans eat way more meat than anybody ever ate in the history of the world, like meat all the time. So we don't need, even if you like meat, you don't need to eat meat all the time, 3 meals, right? And I'm not saying to be a vegetarian if you don't want to, because I'm not advocating any kind of specific diet. But cut down on the sugar. That's my big thing. I love sugar. that's my kingpin. But, and sleep. So I just say get a decent amount of sleep. Apparently 7 hours is most for most people. I like 8 myself, but sometimes I don't get that. Try to get 7 hours of sleep, because they've done studies too that people that get only 6, their longevity is shrunk and they have more disease. So try to get 7. Try to just cut down on the junk food, the sweets, the alcohol, and move for 15 minutes a day. You're already in better shape than most Americans.
Thank you for such a positive talk today. Jeanne, for sharing your wisdom and insights with us. Your journey is a testament to what is possible when you combine knowledge, determination, and desire to create a positive impact. Do you have any closing remarks for our listeners?
1, you are worthy and ready right now. That's it.
Very good. Very good. And if our listeners wanted to get in contact with you, where could they go to learn more about you?
Sure. Now, I think you have my link to my reviews. If you don't have it, that should be in the show notes, where you can see basically all that my clients are doing. If you're a coach, there's also a link that you can talk with me. And I'm all over social media. So I can give you my Instagram link. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, on LinkedIn. It's just my name. If you search my name, and I'm very open. Whenever people write to me, I always answer. So I'm a very open, accessible person. And I love talking to people. I actually love people. I do love talking to people. So if you want to, contact me, there's many ways, from my website or many social media platforms.
Very good. And I'll be sure to link all those in the show notes for this. If you found today's episode valuable, please consider subscribing or leaving a review and sharing it with your friends or colleagues. Remember, you have the power to make a difference. Until next time, make every day count.